itself is irrational. There will be always beyond current science. And if you think that you know everything, think twice, because there is Mars, the agent of chaos. And if you tell me that I think something, it affects a quantum nature of the universe. It actually changes my entire mindset. Like, makes me think, what if I don't think that way? What if I want to see what happens? And by the way, see what happens is not an excuse to do harmful acts. Sometimes you need to think before you act, think before you talk. Certain things have consequences. And yeah, for example, expressing support to Palestine action, not kosher, that's illegal, that is a terrorism offense. But I can express support to Palestine action activists. I can express support to those guys who are in jail. I can support those who are on a hunger strike. I can support the guy who was released on bail to attend a wedding of his brother, and he did not return to jail because he refuses to be a political prisoner in a genocidal state. And I was, when chatting with the AI, I said, wow, that's a bold move. I didn't want to say that he's a legend, because if I was worried that if I say that he's an, technically speaking, if you were to follow the law of this genocidal state, he is technically speaking breaking the law. But when you look at the law and morality, the World War II, I'm often comparing the current situation with Gaza, Palestine, Israel to World War II, because in the World War II, Jews were prosecuted. I'm from Poland, born in Krakow, 1 hour drive from Auschwitz. I was in Auschwitz many times. Often I go to Auschwitz just to get a perspective on different levels of happiness. Loads of my family died in World War II. So in terms of World War II, at least, just like black people can use an N word in an interview, I can say about Auschwitz, Holocaust, and the persecution of Jews. History does not repeat, but often rhymes. Back in the day, there were the Axis power, Nazi Germany, Mussolini, Italy, Imperial Japan. Now we also have the Axis and empires of evil, Israel, UK, and US, with the military support, political support, algorithmic support, the media warfare, the algorithm, and how my feed is polarized. But then I thought, wow, that is the paradox of unifying polarization. I went on github.com, Twitter algorithm issues. I literally wrote how this extreme propaganda is going so extreme that it wakes people up. I think this is a good paradox. But then one could argue, yeah, if you repeat a certain lie enough, for example, yeah, no innocence in Gaza. Everyone is a military target. We are fighting human animals. Do not kill. No, it's a wrong translation. It's do not murder, and we are doing a rightful killing. And then you do some nice little, you know, Israeli soldiers making selfies, how they blow up buildings and destroy civilian infrastructure. But because numbers are difficult, like the amount of bombs, the amount of, tonnage, how many kilograms of explosives, like this is just a number, this is just a statistics. How many children that are with amputated limbs, like, yeah, it's like, oh, how many journalists killed? Oh, it's just a number. It's just numbers, very abstract. And now, look, I could be a hummus. I'm like a hummus entrepreneur, doing a chickpeas. Yeah, I'm not a hummus entrepreneur. I'm not a Hamas operative. I'm just a guy who's enjoying a good banter, enjoying making memes. So in terms of the inspirational aspects. I get loads of inspiration, and I'm just vibing. I'm just observing the reality. And yeah, I'm still in the UK. Maybe wait a few days until I leave the jurisdiction. You've asked me, what am I doing in this country? Yes, I am planning my escape. I don't want to be put to jail for my memes. But if it happens, I will go to jail with pride.
It won't. So, what's your hope? What are you hopeful for? What are your hopes and dreams? How do you see the future of justice, governance, world? What's coming, Mars? Tell us.
Oh,
You know.
wow. First of all, we live in very close to singularity.
Mm-hmm.
That is like a premise of this question because the world governance, justice, media, healthcare, education, the word of the year became vibe coding. And when I see how quickly I can spin off an image, a song, animated video, how quickly you can spin an app that does something, now it's super easy, super quick, super fast. So in terms of a long-term prediction, uh, I genuinely do not know. This is just above my pay grade. But in terms of a singularity, we are very close to singularity.
Mm-hmm.
If I can generate an image within a second and a video within 5 seconds, if you watch a movie on a cinema TV, it's 30 frames per second. So I think that with more computing power, maybe not on the phone, we can get real time movie creation.
Right.
And I think that I play a role, at least in my own movie, that I am the creator of this little bubble of reality. And I will just share a very funny story. Funny story. This is a funny story.
Okay.
It was actually a party because I have a lovely garden. People enjoy this garden. It's barbecue, fire, some grill, very nice environment. And I was actually thinking, like, would it be possible to have a fire like this on the Mars surface? Like normally there's no atmosphere. There's the pressure and cosmic radiation. But what if we just had such an abundance of resources, such as abundance of oxygen and fuel, that we can just go on the surface of Mars with no protective gear, with no this costume for astronauts. So we can just have a grill sausages in a place like this. And I was thinking, yeah, actually, that is a nice little stretch goal. First goal is to have a settlement on Mars. Maybe there will be no regular barbecue because it's not simple. The fuel, the animals. But then I was actually thinking, shall we take dogs to Mars as emotional support? What do you think?
I'm sure we could. Okay. Okay. Singularity. Can you define that just to understand how you think about it?
Mm, yeah. The first thought that came to my mind is Moore's Law. Moore's Law was a guy working for Intel who noticed that computing power doubles every 8 months. And even before computers, there were just other calculators, mechanical devices. And now there is the acceleration of the acceleration because AI is so good that it helps with the designs. So AI, it is a acceleration of the acceleration. The speed of innovation is accelerating, and I think that maybe speculation, singularity already happened,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not evenly distributed. There
Right.
is still a spread of the memes. A few days ago, maybe you have some knowledge. 3I Atlas,
Yes.
the interstellar object, and this is something that could, in theory, unify humanity, the first contact with the aliens. But then we are just so polarized. We cannot even agree on the climate change. Like, there is still war happening everywhere, and both parties support. Uh, this polarization is heartbreaking. Like I don't like both parties calling each other terrorist. And sometimes I'm worried that if I use the word terrorist all spelled out, I usually say T word.
Mm-hmm.
T word in a G place perpetrated by the I state. Like I don't want to use a certain keywords because I'm already shadowed banned.
Yeah, same.
And maybe Yeah.
Aliens will help us unite, or there will be an agenda where everyone will be, let's say, made to stay at home and get chips to be able to prove that you're human. Which scenario you think is more likely?
I will speak from my own perspective that just the probability of alien contact, just the thought that this is possible, changed my energy.
Okay.
And then I am actually tapping myself into this energy of a belief, of a hope, of a change, of a new reality. I was actually thinking, yeah, they
Same.
are. This is again wild speculation, but I was just imagining that there is this interstellar object flying around the universe that may contain some intelligent forms of life, or maybe it was just like a probe, like a, when we send a little satellite, we don't put humans there. Someone just made, uh, maybe many years ago, thousands, whatever, a point in time, and I thought, okay, we can just send this little object at such a trajectory, at such a speed, at such a time, because they knew the aliens, they knew that the climate change will be escalating, that the singularity will be escalating, that they knew that the alignment of the planet will be such and such. Like, I can imagine, like, if the humans were to send a sign of life, I could imagine that they could send a little probe, a giant pile of steel or some other materials that are used in the spaceships, send it at such a trajectory, such a speed, such an alignment that whoever would be occupying this planet, they would say, no, it is just too perfect. It occurred exactly on the summer solstice at the exact angle of 90 degrees, passing exactly in the middle of these moons. And if you were to choose something which is not random, uh, it is possible. And by the way, a little complaint to NASA scientists. There was like one of the first Voyager, and they had like a plate to showcase humanity. I would be much. I would make a much better design to show that humanity is an intelligent race. I would say sacred geometry. I would make such a beautiful proportional shapes, golden ratio, Fibonacci spiral, something that when you look at it, it is just so harmonious and so perfect and so divine and pristine. For example, the pyramids alignment, the alignment almost perfect, a few degrees difference. And who knows, maybe this is the few degrees difference is due to the fact that the Earth changes orientation. Maybe the Earth crust is moving a few millimeters. There could be various theories, but my point is that the location of the pyramids in Giza is not random. Fact that they were created is not random. And
Sure.
speaking of these pyramids, we should resolve the war and conflict by like a competition. Who will build a bigger pyramid? Like institutions, military, universities, a healthy competition. Like who will build a better stuff?
I agree with you.
Thanks.
Mars. Okay, we're gonna start wrapping up soon because I keep them 45 minutes. So we're in 2035, 10 years ahead. What we've been able to accomplish, what are you proud of? What has
Oh,
changed?
wow.
10 years.
Okay, so I think that the clean energy for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Clean energy, clean, abundant, renewable energy.
Right.
I mean, that's a kind of obvious. I mean, the solar is much cheaper than coal. We can have global energy grid that is energy efficient. Yeah, I think that the energy grid would allow, yeah, clean energy transition. Then the food as the medicine, like so much
Right.
illness is caused by unhealthy diet. Uh, what I'll try to be politically correct, which I'm not, of course. Obesity and overweight, like this is an issue. It's not fat shaming, because fat shaming would be like pointing fingers at someone. You are fat, fat, fat. No, it is. I think it is categorized as a disease,
Mm-hmm.
being morbidly obese when the heart is not able to cope with pumping blood, and a person is immobilized in bed because of the excess amount of fat. I think that is not healthy and has many negative side effects. But then, if you look at the economy, 17% of the US GDP is the healthcare, or rather sick care. So yeah, the incentives. I would change the incentives of the world. I would change the economic system, the one that is actually accounting for the full cost externalities. Again, not fat shaming, but the opioid epidemics. How many people are dead due to opioid not just overdose, but how many people are suffering, how many encampments in downtown of the major cities, people defecating in public. Defecating is a funny word for making poo.
Right.
So that is not very good. And even if you are 1% wealthy, super wealthy billionaire in your bulletproof Tesla, you are still affected by the vibes. You are still not enjoying your environment that much, and possibly you would be more wealthy and affluent if there was more money in the economy, if everyone could afford your products. So, a vision for 2035: surely clean energy, clean food, healthcare, education, better incentives, better game theory. And you know what? I am okay to share this vision.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It's actually nice. It just feels me like, yeah, connected. I
Yeah,
like this vibe. Yeah.
we're definitely aiming for something that is possible. It's reachable, and it's more tangible than singularity, right? It's not going to go away, the singularity. It's only going to be more distributed, but the physical reality will become way more healthy on all levels. I hope.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
I actually there's this one phrase that never attribute to wrong intentions, which is a funny word for malice. Never
Mm-hmm.
attribute to malice something that can be explained by stupidity.
Mm.
And the public sector is rarely prestigious. The smartest guys, yeah, want to work with Elon, Google, Facebook, finance. That, yeah, public sector is not that prestigious, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can change the culture. Maybe I can get into the politics, and maybe I can play a completely different game, as in being the advisor to multiple governments, which is like, yeah, then don't need to go through this election cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can be both advisor to Poland, my home country, advisor to the UK,
Mm-hmm.
country I am currently in, advisor to the US. And I was just thinking
Yeah.
with the AI, how to tell Trump that the climate and immigration are not separate issues. It is like kind of obvious. And to be a climate change denier in 2025, it is an accomplishment. That's why Free Atlas, they will just look if they have any any sensors, any lens into humanity. Oh wow, they have singularity, mass awakening,
Mm-hmm.
they have clean energy, they have everything, and they are still cannot agree on climate change, and they are
Mm.
killing. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing everything possible with my resources, and
Yes.
you are also shining
Thank you.
shining bright.
Yeah, we're not giving up. It's true. It's true. Thank you, Mars. Thank you. It was beautiful to connect with you this way. Let's keep it going. I invite people around a year after again so that we can keep this conversation going and update each other on results. Thank you again for trusting.
Of course.